Hi, guys. Today, I'm here to change up the word shame, all right? Shame is not something that any of us like to feel. Yet, what I find is that most of us are feeling it far too often. So, I'm going to change the whole perspective about that word. Now, I don't know who came up with this, but somewhere along the line, I learned that the word shame is actually an acronym, where each letter of the word stands for something else. Essentially, shame makes up a sentence that completely changes the perspective about this word. So, S.H.A.M.E, here's what the letters stand for: should, have, already, mastered, everything. Okay, I'll let that sink in for a second. When we're feeling shame, essentially we're telling ourselves, I should have already mastered everything, especially this thing, whatever it was that we made a mistake about, or we repeated and we told ourselves we weren't going to do that again, right? So, really, just let that land. This is what you are expecting of yourself each time you're feeling shame. You're expecting that you should have already mastered this, and yet you haven't. And of course, it's obvious that as humans, there's not a possibility that we can master everything. All right. So, whatever it was that happened that you've been feeling shame about, whatever whatever it is, you just haven't mastered it yet because you're a human, right? So sometimes I find it helpful that when people are feeling shame about something that they've done, to try and take them out of it, as if they can imagine this is somebody else who made this mistake or who did this thing. Um, it's another imperfect human who did this, right? And now they're feeling shame about it. And then we can kind of look at, what do we think about it? Lots of times it's a lot easier to have compassion or to give the benefit of the doubt to somebody else than it is for ourselves. So that's kind of a place to start, that to ask yourself, would you expect somebody else to have mastered this? And maybe so, maybe so. But it's a starting place to recognize that, okay, that person is human. They have not mastered everything. I'm a human. I have not mastered everything. How do I really want to think about myself here as a human who has not mastered this yet? So that's my invitation here today, is that the next time you feel shame, I want you to pause and be real with yourself. Bring in this new perspective about shame, that it simply means that you're expecting that you should have already mastered something that you haven't yet. It doesn't mean that you don't want to, or doesn't mean that you can't master it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to continue working on it. But we want to be really clear that improvement, better behavior, does not come from feeling shame and beating ourselves up. Right? We cannot shame ourselves or others into better behavior. Acceptance and compassion and love are so much better for that. Shame just simply does not work. So that's what I have for you today. And if you want individual help on anything that you're struggling with, schedule a private session with me. All right. There's a link in the show notes for my podcast listeners to get a discount on sessions with me. Or you can go to my website, thegoodguycorner.com, and use the code GOODGUY, all one word, good guy, to get that discount, right? So there's a link directly in the show notes, or just go to the website, thegoodguycorner.com. All right. I'm Coach Mimi, and I'll be here next time in the Good Guy Corner.